Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get straight to what really works in learning.
That's the plan.
Today, it's all about English fluency. We're going to challenge some common ideas and look at, maybe the most obvious path that somehow gets missed.
It happens a lot.
So the big question is, what's the most effective, the undeniable way to actually become fluent in English? Not fancy new tricks, but core principles you might know but aren't using right.
Right. Unlocking what's already there, in a sense.
Exactly. We're drawing on insights from an expert's teachings here, stuff designed to get past the usual confusion and give you a clear path. Our mission, simple. Unpack the real secret to speaking English confidently, naturally, even if you feel like you've been stuck for ages. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with this thing the source calls the fluency illusion. That belief that if you just finish one more textbook,
or watch enough Netflix.
Right, or memorize a huge list of words, then poof, you're fluent. It sort of feels logical, right?
All right.
More input equals more output.
It does seem logical, and that's why it's such a tricky illusion.
Yeah.
Because fluency isn't really about how much English you know.
Okay.
It's about how well you can use it without that fear, without pausing for ages, without overthinking every single word.
Yeah.
Think about it. So many people study for, months, years even. They ace the tests, know the grammar rules inside out. But then when they actually need to speak, it's like crickets. They just can't seem to get the words out smoothly.
Oh, that frustration is so real. Our source mentions this student, Daniel, studied for over 10 years.
Wow, 10 years.
Yeah, great exam scores, read books in English just for fun. But the minute he had to actually talk like an interview or just helping a tourist,
he froze.
Totally froze, panicked, would just look down and say, sorry, my English isn't good. Does that ring a bell for you listening? Maybe you get podcasts, you read stuff online.
You might even write pretty well.
Exactly. But when it's time to speak, it's like your brain just hits the brakes. Why is that? Why doesn't knowing English automatically mean you can speak it fluently? What's going on there?
Well, Daniel's story really nails it. It's this gap, right, between knowing about the language, the facts, the rules, the words. That's declarative memory.
Okay.
And actually doing the language, speaking it. That's procedural memory. It's like knowing how a bicycle works versus actually riding it.
Oh, okay.
Speaking needs the mouth, the ears, the brain all working together instantly. That freezing moment. It's often not because you don't know the words. It's because the pathway to retrieve and say them under pressure isn't trained.
Right.
Active speaking is what builds that pathway. It turns that passive knowledge into an active skill you can grab when you need it, like building a superhighway in your brain, straight from thought to speech.
Okay, that makes sense. So if the usual way isn't quite getting us there, what is the answer? What's this undeniable truth?
Where do we go?
All right, let's get to it. The only way to really hit fluency, ready? It sounds maybe too simple.
Sometimes the simple things are the most powerful.
You must speak. Daily. Actively. Out loud. That's it.
That really is the core of it. It's non-negotiable. Look, reading, watching things, grammar drills, they're all useful, definitely. They build that foundation, that passive knowledge we talked about.
Sure.
But they just don't build real speaking fluency on their own. Without actually speaking, you're not training the specific bits, the neural pathways, the actual muscles in your mouth and brain coordination to produce language on the fly.
Right.
You're not building the habit of output.
It's like that swimming analogy you mentioned earlier. You can read books about swimming, watch Olympic swimmers on YouTube, buy the flashiest gear. But if you never, ever get in the pool, are you going to learn? Nope.
Not a chance.
And it's just the same with English. If you're not speaking, you're not swimming, you're just, standing by the pool, reading the manual.
That's a great way to put it.
But, okay, for someone who has spent years just reading the manual, just consuming,
Right.
What's the biggest hurdle to actually jumping in? Mentally, I mean.
Yeah, that's the crux of it, isn't it? Moving from knowing to doing. The swimming thing works because English is a skill. It's a performance.
Right.
It's not just information you store away. Think about learning piano. You don't learn by just staring at the sheet music.
Oh, you have to actually play. Badly at first.
Exactly. You sit down, you hit the keys, you make tons of mistakes, you sound awful for a while, and you try again. It's that active physical practice that builds the skill, the muscle memory, the brain connections for doing it. without thinking so hard.
Okay, but I can literally hear people thinking, but who do I talk to? Or I'm way too shy for that. Or maybe I live somewhere where nobody speaks English. These are real roadblocks for people.
They absolutely are, and they're valid concerns. Yeah. We hear that all the time. But here's the thing, and it might sound a bit odd at first. The first person you need to start speaking English with is yourself.
Okay, talk to myself, like out loud.
Yes, out loud. It might feel weird initially, but it's incredibly effective fluency training. See, your brain doesn't actually care if anyone else is listening.
Really?
Not for this purpose. It just needs to get used to producing the sounds, the rhythm, the physical act of speaking English. You're essentially giving your speaking muscles, both physical and neurological, a workout. You're strengthening those pathways we talked about.
So how does that work in practice? What would I actually say to myself?
Great question. You can start simple. Just describe your day as you go through it. Okay, I'm getting up now. I'm going to the kitchen. I need to make some coffee.
Like narrating your life.
Exactly. Or talk about your goals. Today, I want to finish this report. Or you can even replay conversations you had or wish you'd had, but say them out loud in English.
Interesting.
You can also try shadowing native speakers. We should definitely dig into that more.
Yeah, let's circle back to shadowing.
And definitely record your voice sometimes. Just use your phone, listen back. It can be revealing.
So the benefit isn't just practicing sounds, it's more than that.
Oh, much more. Every time you speak out loud, even to yourself, you're training those speaking muscles, yes. But you're also building confidence. You're telling your brain, hey, English isn't just this thing I study from a book.
Right.
It's a tool I actually use. Yeah. It builds comfort. It builds habit. It starts creating that internal English voice that's key for thinking in the language.
Okay, so let's make this real for everyone listening. How about a mini mission right now?
I like it.
Wherever you are, just pause for maybe 10 seconds, look around you, and describe 1 or 2 things you see out loud. In English. Go on, try it now.
Just a simple sentence. I see a blue cup. There's a window.
Whatever it is, did you do it? That little act, that was fluency practice. That was progress. You just took a step.
Every little bit counts.
So, okay, we know why we need to speak. But just talking isn't always efficient training, right? How do we speak strategically, especially if we are talking to ourselves or just starting? What are the techniques?
Absolutely. It's not just about quantity, it's quality of practice too. One of the absolute best techniques is called shadowing.
Right, you mentioned that. How does it work exactly?
Okay, so shadowing is where you listen to a native speaker. It could be from a podcast, a video, anything, and you copy them.
Exactly.
At the same time, or right after.
You can do either. Some people try to speak right along with them simultaneously. Others listen to a short phrase or sentence, pause, and then repeat it immediately after. The key is exactly. Meaning you try to copy everything, not just the words, the rhythm, the ups and downs, the intonation, the stress on certain syllables, even the emotion, if you can catch it.
So it's much deeper than just pronunciation practice.
Oh, way deeper. Because when you focus on copying the flow like that, something amazing starts to happen over time. You begin to internalize the natural patterns of English.
Okay.
And this is crucial. You start to bypass that step of translating everything in your head from your native language. You begin little by little to actually think directly in English.
Okay. And where can people find stuff to shadow? Anywhere you hear natural English. Podcasts like this one are great. YouTube videos, scenes from movies or TV shows you like, audiobooks, just find a voice you like, something clear, and spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day just shadowing.
Got it. Shadowing. What else?
Next up is chunking. This is super important for sounding natural.
Chunking, like breaking things up.
Exactly. Native speakers don't usually think word by word when they speak. They think in groups of words, in common phrases or chunks.
Examples.
Okay, instead of thinking, I would like to go to the cinema later tonight. Sounds robotic.
Yeah.
You think in chunks. I'd like to go to the cinema later tonight, see how those flow together.
Yeah. Much smoother.
Right. So chunking as a technique means practicing saying these common phrases together smoothly. It gets you away from assembling sentences like Lego bricks and helps you deliver them more like native speakers do. It's about flow, not word-for-word perfection.
We like that. Flow, not perfection. Okay, one more technique.
Let's do role play. This one's really practical.
Acting things out.
Pretty much. You act out real-life situations by yourself. Imagine you're in a job interview, or ordering coffee, or checking in at an airport.
And you play both parts.
You can, yeah. Be the barista and the customer. Say, hi, what can I get for you? Then switch. Hi, can I get a large latte, please? Sure thing. Anything else? No, that's all, thanks.
Okay, I can see how that would prepare you.
Totally.
Wow.
It uses your imagination, lets you practice common questions and answers, and builds confidence for those real-world moments without the pressure of a real person waiting for your response.
Yeah.
Low stakes, high reward practice.
Shadowing, chunking, role play, great practical tools. But let's be real, even with these techniques, there's often this huge wall, this invisible barrier. What is that? What's the biggest thing that stops even diligent students cold?
Yeah, the elephant in the room. It's almost always fear. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of sounding stupid, the fear of being judged.
It's powerful.
Incredibly powerful. It can paralyze people. But here's the absolute truth you need to grasp to break through it. Perfection is a P-app.
Say more about that.
So many learners wait. They think, I'll speak when my grammar's perfect, or I'll speak when I know more words, or I'll speak when I feel confident.
Right, waiting for the right moment.
But it's backwards. Confidence doesn't magically appear before you speak. Confidence is the result of speaking. You build it by doing it, by trying, by making mistakes, and realizing the world doesn't end.
Okay.
I worked with a student once, brilliant writer, perfect grammar on paper, but speaking. Panic attack. The second she just gave herself permission to speak imperfectly, to just try, boom, her confidence started growing almost immediately.
Wow.
And here's a little secret. Native speakers, we make mistakes all the time.
Really?
Oh yeah. We use sentence fragments, we use slang, we sometimes break grammar rules, think about things like ain't, or saying he don't know instead of doesn't. Real language is messy. It's alive. It's not a textbook.
That's actually really reassuring. So mistakes are okay.
Mistakes aren't just okay, they are essential. They're your teachers. Every mistake you notice is a signpost showing you what to work on next.
So instead of cringing,
Try to smile. Seriously. Think, okay, I didn't notice that one. It's just feedback. A step closer. It's also about shifting your whole mindset, right?
Right.
Making English part of your life, not just this separate subject you study for an hour a day.
right, making it a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that connects to the bigger picture. Fluency doesn't just happen because you decided one day. It happens because of all the small things you do every day.
Like what? How do you create that environment?
Well, you can start small, change your phone language to English, change your apps,
Oh yeah, that's easy.
use English when you search on Google, follow some cool creators who speak English on social media, watch movies or shows, maybe start with English subtitles, but then try turning them off sometimes. Immerse yourself gradually.
And you mentioned thinking in English earlier.
Yes, this is huge. Your inner voice, your thoughts. Try consciously switching them to English sometimes, especially for simple, everyday things.
Like the narrating thing.
Exactly. Wake up and think out loud if you can. Okay, I'm getting up now. I'm going to the kitchen. I think I'll make some tea. It looks like it might rain today. Simple stuff.
Yeah.
Say it out loud every day. It starts to rewire your brain.
This all leads somewhere concrete, doesn't it? A plan.
It does. A call to action.
Okay, everyone, listen up. We're giving you a challenge, a clear, actionable mission to seriously boost your fluency. We're calling it the 30-day fluency mission.
Right. And here's what you commit to doing every single day for the next 30 days. Each step is designed for a specific reason.
Let's hear it.
1. Speak English out loud for at least 10 minutes. Non-negotiable. Builds consistency, works those muscles.
Okay, 10 minutes minimum. Got it.
2. Shadow native speakers for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Trains your ear, your rhythm, your intonation. Gets you thinking in chunks.
Shadowing, 5-10 minutes. Check.
3. Record your voice at least twice a week. Listen back. Be your own coach. Find what you need to tweak.
Record and review twice a week. Okay.
4. Write down 5 new phrases you actually hear each day. Not just single words, phrases. And use each one in your own sentence. Maybe say it out loud. Builds usable vocabulary.
5 new useful phrases daily. Use them. Good one.
And 5. Do 1 role-play scenario per day. Practice a real-life situation. Build conversational readiness.
1 role play daily. Okay. Seems manageable broken down like that.
Totally doable.
And the promise here from the source material is that if you actually do this consistently for just 1 month, you will feel more confident. You will sound more fluent, more natural. Imagine that leap in just 30 days. That's huge.
It really is. It's about focused, consistent action.
All right, let's quickly recap the big takeaways from this deep dive then. First, the only real way to get fluent, speak English every single day.
No shortcuts there.
Second, stop chasing perfection. It's a trap. Aim for consistency. Embrace the mistakes.
Mistakes are proof you're trying.
Third, remember, fluency is a skill you build like swimming or playing guitar. It's not some magic gift.
It's earned through practice.
And finally, you can do this. If you put in the focused work, fluency is achievable.
Absolutely. And that brings up a really important point. You don't need to live in the US or the UK. You don't need perfect grammar before you start. You don't even need a native speaker friend living next door.
What do you need then?
You need a voice, which you have. You need a reason, find yours. And you need the courage to just open your mouth and speak. You already have everything you need to start.
So the final message is, don't wait. Start today. Like right now. Say something in English out loud.
Go on.
Try saying this. I am becoming fluent in English.
Feel that.
I'm proud of my progress.
Even the small steps.
I can do this. Say it again. Feel the intention. That's your starting line. One sentence, one decision. So here's a thought to leave you with. If fluency really is a decision, a result of consistent action, and you've just taken that first symbolic step by saying those words, what happens next? What new doors, what possibilities open up when your voice in English finally feels free?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Share this deep dive if you found it helpful, especially with someone else on their English journey. And keep exploring, keep speaking.